tuned in to the TWU Local 513 podcast. The latest news, updates, and conversations that matter to our members.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TWU Local 513 podcast. Joining me today again is my my road dog, certainly my president, Greg Cosey. Welcome back, Greg.
Good morning, Brian. How are you, bro?
I'm good. We're in mid-cycle of the membership meetings for October.
All right.
Great meetings yesterday. A lot of members were here. It was engaged. They're very engaging. You had, as usual, a great agenda, and I think that was a good thing. We'll go over a few things that we talked about yesterday and just kind of some things that happened recently and some things that are upcoming. First of all, let's reflect back to the picnic. Great. Yeah. That was great.
I was very concerned because of the rain. And so, we'd gone actually weeks without rain. And of course, it would have to rain the day of the picnic. But I will give a lot of credit to the venue. They were able to kind of, pivot a bit and bring a lot of the activities for the kids inside. Luckily, the pavilion itself is large enough to, kind of hold those things. But I think our members really had a good time. We made the most of it. It was actually a very good attendance, despite the fact that it did rain earlier most of the morning and early part of the day.
Right.
But we, as a board, we love to have the picnic. It's always fun to see our members, see their children, grandchildren in some cases, see retirees, just see everybody, come and fellowship and have fun and see everybody in a different setting. And so, we always enjoy doing the picnic, and we always, we look forward to doing events for our members.
Right. Yeah, it is a great time. You get bogged down in the work of it, right?
Yeah.
It's time to step away, like some of the other events that we do. We got one coming up before too long. It's going to be the Christmas event.
Yes.
We'll discuss that again before, we'll talk about that more on the next podcast in November. But yeah, the events, it brings it full circle for us because we represent the employee, our members. We deal with them on a one-on-one basis. But then when you see them with their kids and their grandkids and their spouse, and it just takes the edge off, what we do.
Right.
It's just great.
Yeah, it's just it's good to see people in a different environment. They let the hair down a little bit and enjoy, And I always say, it's a bunch of tough guys out on the ramp, but when they're around their wives and children or vice versa, it's just really cool. It's good to see, people have fun.
Yeah. So what you're trying to say is we learn who the boss really is, right?
We already know who the boss really is, but
certainly at my house.
I've seen that in action. So
yeah. So anyway, moving past that, we do have something coming up with our Veterans Committee. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we're very proud of the work that our Veterans Committee that they do. Sean Dietz is the chairman of the committee, and he does an outstanding job, not only locally, but with the international as well. And, he and Denmark, Masamoto, they're both part of the International Veterans Committee, but locally, they spearhead what we do here with 513. And so this year, we try to do something for our veterans every year. And this year, they've taken it to a different level. And so I'm really pleased. What we're doing is we're sharing a meal with our veterans. Any of our members, TWU members, who happen to be veterans of the military, are invited to join us for just a light meal. And on Veterans Day, November the 11th, and it's 3 different serving times. It's from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon, 6 in the evening to 8 o'clock, and midnight to 2 in the morning. It's going to be located over in the facility maintenance conference room. And, it's just a way for us to tip our hat to the folks who served this country and who's represented us and secured our freedoms around the world. So We're pleased to be able to do that, and provide a slight meal, and also present them with the TWU Local 513 Challenge coin.
Right.
And we're very pleased to do that and show our gratitude for their service.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a great thing, and to your point, very proud of our veterans. I will give a special shout out to a veteran we have in the room with us right now,
Absolutely.
who helps us with their podcast,
Right.
Don Kaiser.
Don Kaiser, that's right.
How long did you serve, Don? 12 years.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank
Absolutely.
you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
I didn't want that moment to go away
Yeah.
without mentioning
No,
that.
that's good stuff.
Yeah, so it'll be a great thing. And then again, I know the guys will have some information for the veterans and everything. Yeah. And we really encourage our members who are veterans to get involved in the committee.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
One of the things we talk about at the beginning of every year is that we kind of level set our committees. And the Veterans Committee is one committee that we just don't worry about. And when I say that, I mean it with all due respect because of the work that Sean does as the chairperson.
Right.
He's phenomenal. He helps the veterans. He provides, like you said, a lot of information. He's plugged in a lot of different ways that, we can't imagine. And he's a tremendous resource for our members. And so I could not be more pleased with his work.
Yeah, the mindset of the veterans generally is they just put their head down and go to work.
That's it.
They're not looking for a pat on the back or anything like that. Nope. I know that, my son served for, 10 years as well. So, just cut from a different cloth. And to your point, they definitely need to be recognized.
Absolutely.
Not that they're raising their hand asking to be so.
No.
So anyway, that's a good thing. We need to talk about something else. So it's kind of concerning for me on a personal level. We were supposed to do something in coordination today. And
yep, no, you're right. And so what he's referring to is that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and in observation of that and awareness, you were supposed to wear pink. And so yesterday we wore our pink polos. The whole board wore pink polos, and today we were supposed to wear our pink T-shirts.
You mean the one I have on?
The one that you have on, that one that you look great in. You represent us very well. But the reason why I did not wear my shirt today is I'm still a little upset over the Tennessee-Alabama game.
Oh.
I'm just putting it out there. You guys, that last interception killed us. But,
yeah, well, it was a 99-yard interception.
Well, but no, really, I truly was, it slipped my mind, charge it to my head, not my heart. So,
yeah. Well, I know it would be to your head, not your heart, because breast cancer, if you don't mind me saying, you shared yesterday a little bit of testimony about how it affected you personally.
Well, yeah, and I don't mind sharing it for our listeners and viewers today. 1982, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she had a radical mastectomy. Luckily, it didn't go into her lymph nodes, and so she didn't have to do any kind of radiation or chemotherapy. But as a young, I think I was a teenager, that was my first, really introduction into someone having cancer. And then subsequently, other family members got cancer, passed away. And like I said yesterday, there's no one who hasn't been affected by cancer. In fact, statistically, 1 out of every 8 people will be diagnosed with cancer. The statistics are really astounding. 50% of all men will somehow contract cancer, and 1 out of every 3 women. But the key to it is early detection.
Right.
No matter what type of cancer it is, certainly certain types of cancer are harder to fight or harder to detect than others. But regardless of the type of cancer, early detection is key. And so statistically speaking, if you if you detect the cancer or have the doctors detect the cancer early, you have a 99% chance of survival. And so part of the message that we talked about yesterday at the membership meetings was very simple. Regardless of what category of healthcare you have with American or even with Menzies, we have good healthcare. And my suggestion is simple. You go take your annual physical around your birthday, pay attention to your body. Your body is going to give you some signs and signals sometimes. As we get older, we tend to kind of ignore those signs and signals. But that's when you really need to key in, and you really need to, I'm big on relationships. You need to establish a relationship with your primary care physician and be comfortable enough that when you have those odd aches or pains, respond to it. Go to your doctor, and tell him or her whatever it is that's going on. Again, early detection is key. I'll never forget those moments with my mom where we were so thankful that she didn't have to go through the radiation and the chemotherapy. But it was some challenging times, and I'll never forget it. I even shared a little bit more of a personal note. I had some healthcare issues back in 2010, and I ended up having to get a bone scan because there was some fear that I may have had bone cancer. And so that's when they go into your hip and take a piece of your bone out. It's a very painful process. But again, I'm very thankful to God that I did not have cancer. But again, it just kind of goes back to the notion that, early detection is key, and pay attention to your body no matter what.
Right. To your point, we have good insurance. We'd be lying if we said it was cheap. But, you pay for it. You should use it. It's for your own good. And at the end of the day, we need to be healthy not only for ourselves, but there's a lot of people that depend on us, and a lot of people that care about us. So I lost both my parents. My dad was the one I lost to cancer. He had prostate cancer and actually went into remission for several years, and then it returned and it just ate him up. And to your point, me being here in Texas and my dad was in Alabama for about 6 months, every weekend I would fly to Birmingham, rent a car, and go see him. And that 6 months probably means more to me than his entire life. So
yeah,
I guess the moral of the story is take care of yourself, take care of your family. A lot of people care about you. So
yeah, and that's a perfect segue. We have our benefits enrollment for American Airlines. It starts November the 3rd through the 19th. We'll, as usual, we'll have enrollers at the Yandry Center. We'll have our TWU benefits coordinators and peers there to assist our members. Our Menzies members will be undergoing their benefits enrollment in the first couple of weeks of November as well. So it all kind of coincides. And again, it's like I said, what we're talking about is a perfect segue into the notion that, take your time, go through the information thoroughly, make a decision that's going to benefit you and your family, and it's going to cost. There's no doubt about it. But I tell you what's even more costly is bad health, is being sick. But yeah.
Yeah, bad health and inadequate health coverage.
Yes.
So to your point, that's not one area you want to skip on.
Not at all. Not at all.
So let's segue if we're done with this piece and talk about something else that's kind of impactful right now. It's very concerning. Today, we're recording this on Thursday, is day 30 of the shutdown. And we were on a call yesterday with Johnny Jones, who's the president of the AFGE 1040 here at DFW. And, his members are hurting. They're going without a paycheck.
Yeah, they represent the guys at the TSA.
Yes, TSA. Yeah. Thank you for that. Talk a little bit about that, maybe our conversation and, your overarching concerns and everything about what's going on.
Well, it was a very jarring conversation because what it did was it put something that's kind of in the atmosphere. It brought it back home into reality. And when he said that his members were now in week one of not receiving a paycheck, and that some of his members were already living paycheck to paycheck, um, it resonated because we have our members who live paycheck to paycheck. We have some members who live paycheck to paycheck, not all, but some of our members live that way, and it resonates because at the end of the day, none of us would feel good about working for our employer, whether it be the federal government or whether it be a private employer like American Airlines or Menzies Aviation. None of us would feel good about working and not knowing when our next paycheck is going to come. And so how it affects us and how it affects our members is really quite simple. A lot of times we ride the bus with the TSA folks and we don't think much of what they do, but the reality is they are tasked with keeping our airplanes safe, our airports safe. And they do a magnificent job. Don't get me wrong, it's a pain when you're traveling and all of a sudden you go through the secondary screening and they go through your bags and everything else. But when you realize that the reason why they do these things is to keep us safe.
Right.
And it's an important job. Also with the air traffic controllers. I mean, the job that they do, I don't even have to go through the importance of their jobs. And so, these people are expected to continue working, continue to do a good job at what they do, and they don't know when they're going to get paid. And so the conversation we had with Johnny yesterday resonated with me because, I would shudder to think what would happen if our members were put in that same scenario. So it affects us because that's an industry impact. TSA, if the lines back up, if people call in sick, if they, don't come to work for whatever reason, those lines back up. It affects, our flights. It affects our schedules. Obviously, I don't even have to go through how the FAA affects what we do.
Right.
You saw, early on in the shutdown where several of the large cities, including Dallas, were affected because of some folks calling in sick, and they had to slow the schedules down. They had to slow everything down, and so it affects everybody. But on a personal level, I mean, my God, I just think about these young families
Mm-hmm.
and people having to feed their kids and everything else, and it's heartbreaking to think. And I'm not going to get into the politics of it because regardless of it, it's affecting everybody. And eventually, if the government doesn't open up, soon, or if they don't find the funding or do something to help those people, our fellow union brothers and sisters, by the way, if they don't do something to fix this situation, I don't know how that's going to reflect back on my membership, on how that's going to impact what we do on a daily basis.
It's going to have an impact.
It's going to have an impact, and it's hard to forecast how it's going to impact us. But again, I'm optimistic, prayerful that something will be accomplished, and our fellow union brothers and sisters will be paid for the hard work and dedicated work that they do.
Yeah, not to belabor the point, but let's look at the air traffic controllers. The conversation has been for a long time. They're woefully understaffed.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, it's a pressure cooker already for the air traffic controllers. And now you have another shutdown. It's not the first, we've had, previous years we've had it.
Sure.
And again, to your point, it's not a political thing. We're not trying to get into the politics, but at the end of the day, there's a shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
And people are not being paid.
Yeah.
Well, some of these people that are not being paid are going to transition out of that career already. So they're probably going to lose some of the people that they currently have.
Yeah.
I don't,
I had an opportunity to speak to their president a couple of months ago, and the equipment that they use is antiquated. We're talking about late 1980s, 1990s technology. there's certainly much more sophisticated technology out there
Right.
that they could be using, but they haven't received the funding. And this is prior to the shutdown. The staffing, some folks are forced to work 12, 16-hour days because they don't have adequate staffing. Um, and the process to become a controller is so intensive and so lengthy. And so, to your point, they're already close to being in a crisis,
Hmm.
and the shutdown does not help that that field at all.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 years.
Close to almost
Yeah.
2 years in order to go from day one to
Right.
when you're actually
Yeah.
let loose as a air traffic controller.
Yeah. And then back to the TSA, Johnny's group,
Mhm.
they had their contracts voided.
Yes.
I do believe they've they've kind of got that level set,
Hmm.
and now this. So, I mean, it's just, it's a bad situation. I know you and I have had some conversations, uh, to try to figure out how our work group can assist their work group.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together.
Yeah, I mean, you and I had a discussion yesterday about perhaps reaching out to the other union, other locals and other union group
Right.
around the area to try to assist them.
Right.
So we'll figure something out. We'll do whatever we can to try to help.
Yeah.
In coordination with Johnny and his group.
Yeah. So staying industry related, airline related. Let's talk about, we just recently had the state of the airline. I mean,
Where do we begin?
let's talk about American,
Okay.
the airline that we've put, you and I nearly 40 years into,
Mm-hmm.
in comparison with our competitors, specifically Delta and United.
Yes. So the earnings call was last Thursday. Robert Isom presented information, of course, rest of his colleagues. And American had a net revenue of over $13 billion for the quarter, but pre-tax losses of $139 million. And so the third quarter is historically a decent quarter for American Airlines. So historically, the first quarter is a soft quarter, and we either break even or lose money in the first quarter. So that's pretty much expected. And that has been the scenario year over year. Second, third, and fourth quarters are where American makes its money. And the third quarter historically has been a good quarter for the airline. Well, by comparison, we lose $139 million this quarter, third quarter, and Delta earns $1.5 billion, and United earns $1.2 billion. And so the question that I have and many others have is, how is there such a huge financial difference between Delta and American Airlines? How is there a $1.5 billion difference? Listening to the earnings call, there were several reasons why American lags behind the other legacy carriers. He stated that we do not have the premium seats that the other airlines have, meaning they have more business class, more first class seats. They're able to charge more per seat. They actually have an opportunity to charge over $1,000 more than we do per seat. Their route structure is a little different. We took a different approach pre-pandemic, but you know, it's a lot of excuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, and I get on a tangent, so stop me if I just get on my soapbox. But I remember it was either late 2018, early 19, when Robert Isom was very proud of the fact that, we're shrinking the sizes of our lavatories on our airplanes, and we're changing the pitch of the seats so that we can add additional rows of seats in coach. Well, at the same time, our competitors, namely United and Delta, They added more premium seats. They added more business class seats to their wide body airplane. They added more first class seats. They added more amenities to the flight.
Right.
And we took a step back. And the approach that we took was wrong. And it's evidenced by what's happening today. The fact that our stock prices hover around $11 or $12 a share. Theirs up in the 40s, 50s, 60s. The fact that on the third quarter, we report a loss and they report these huge gains. And so it's, to me, the irony of ironies is now part of our, recovery plan is to start adding those amenities that they've added 5 years ago. The amenities such as, and it sounds more champagne on an airplane, premium coffee, Wi-Fi, perhaps changing the cookie. They've been using the same cookie for the past 10 years. Maybe we'll go to an upgraded cookie. Premium coffee.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go to premium coffee.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing for me. I drink coffee.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are really going to pay an extra $200 or $300 per ticket in order to get a good cup of coffee. But
right.
Regardless, that's the plan. And and now we're talking about premium, adding and reconfiguring our airplanes to add more premium seats, to add more business class, to be able to charge more. And it's ironic and it's sad to think that, we're now discovering where the money is and where our focus should be 5 years later, where our competitors continue to make billions and billions and billions of dollars every quarter. So, the state of the airline was an eye opener. To be honest with you, it was not completely unexpected that we would lose money this quarter. I don't know if our members were able to read the letter that was put out by the Coalition of Unions last Friday. I happen to be part of it. It's the pilots, flight attendants, the CWA, our brothers in the association, IAM, the dispatchers union, the Simtech union, all of the unions on property. And we met, we were provided some information from some economists from the APA, the pilots group.
Right.
And it was staggering information. On part of the earnings call, Mr. Isom said that part of our issue was that we had our labor costs were out of line with our competitors. Well, the economist showed us that United, their salaries and related costs are at $4.6 billion. Delta's salary and related costs are at $4.4 billion. And guess where Americans is? 4.5.
Right in the middle.
So how are we so out of line with our competitors? What's really interesting is that United added $600 million to its salary and related costs in anticipation of paying their union groups their bonuses if they sign their contract, which they turned down. But that $600 million is still part of the 4.6 that they put, for the year with their salary related costs.
So they would have basically been over $500 million less had that not been stuck in there.
And they still earned $1.2 billion for the quarter. So the question becomes, there are a lot of questions actually, but the biggest question is, what is the plan? What is the vision of American Airlines leadership to truly lead us out of where we are now? If you pay attention to the industry, you'll see that American Airlines is consistently at the middle or the bottom of every category of every survey that's taken place.
Right.
there has to be something. There
Oh,
has to be
there's
something
something.
other than providing some premium coffee or Wi-Fi that everybody else gives free Wi-Fi on their flights, or now changing the configuration of the airplanes. There has to be something. And we need to know, and the reason why I'm smiling is I have to be very, very delicate in how we how we uh how we talk about this. But there has to be something that to take place to change the trajectory of this company. We can't. This is not a sustainable model. They're talking about what the bookings looks like for the fourth quarter and for the early part of 2026. And I'm vested with this company. I've got 38 years here,
Right.
blood, sweat, and tears. I've lost my family over it. I'm not afraid or ashamed to share my story. I had to make a decision, and the decision that I made was to try to put food on the table and feed my family. I've been laid off 3 times from this company, and so I'm vested. When I say I lost my family, it's because I made a decision to transfer and try to commute and keep my family together, and it didn't work. So, but I'm not bitter. I just say that to illustrate the point that I'm as vested as anybody else is in American Airlines. And it bothers me. It concerns me as an employee of American, but more importantly, as the leader of this union. We have 4,500 people who we represent, our members.
Right.
That's 4,500 families. Now, mind you, not all American. So with the American component of it is 4,200 people. 4,200 families with American. The other 300 families rely on American
100%.
because they fuel the American airplanes.
Right.
And so, yeah, anybody who works for American, anybody who's represented by this union needs to be concerned. We need to be concerned about the direction of this company. We all want our future to be bright. We all want to be able to put food on our tables, clothes on our backs, educate our children, be able to have good health care, and on occasion, take a vacation. And we won't be able to do that if the current leadership continues down this path. I personally, now I'm speaking for Greg Cosey, I'm not speaking for anybody else. But what is the real vision?
That's the key.
What is the real vision, right? And um, I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to like it. I don't have to, I can always have an opinion about it because we're entitled to have opinions. But at the end of the day, I want to hear something. I want to hear something other than we're going to put some premium coffee, we're going to add some premium seats, and we're going to cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Yeah. I mean, we don't represent employees. We represent, and we call them our members or our union family. We don't call them constituents.
No.
So whether it's a shutdown or, it's, the daily life and work, we represent lives. We
Yes.
represent people. And to your point, our people aren't being treated well. And the reason I say that is, I mean, we're gainfully employed and blessed to have this job. Tomorrow I hit 37 years. Actually, last Friday, the 24th, would have been 27, but we had to work a week unpaid when I hired in. That's how long ago it was, at I think $5.77 an hour.
Yeah.
But to your point, we're vested. We've been with this company a long time and moved up. I mean, we've been in the operation and we've seen leadership come and go at every level, and it comes and goes a lot. They need to make, and I say I'm talking about the leadership of America, needs to make 2 investments. First and foremost, to the workforce, to the employees. nearly 85% of American is unionized. So they have a voice. And I'm not saying that we're not, paid adequately or anything like that. We could always ask for more money and better benefits and all that, and we will.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, to your point, what is the vision? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Let's dig down in the operation. It's almost weekly. They're changing, they're trying things, and all they're doing is taking something. They're still trying to make the wheel round and take something that we've tried numerous times throughout the year. They'll put out a pretty poster or whatever. And even the operation, even the local leadership in the stations that we represent, they don't even know the vision half the time because they can't articulate it. And if they can't articulate it and get us to buy into it, what are we really doing? One thing that really pisses me off, that's an unsafe environment that our members work in. Out in the ramp, whether if it's facility maintenance or, fleet service, which is the bulk of who we represent, it's a dangerous place out there. There's no real safety culture. And what ties directly to safety is training and education. And our guys are told, you've got 4.5, 5 hours worth of training to do this quarter, but there's no time dedicated for you to do that. There's a provision in the contract where operationally, if you don't have time, that they could pay you some overtime, and our guys would probably stay for that because, number one, they need the money, but more importantly, they need the training. They need the knowledge. And our guys are like, we have to do it whenever we can. We have guys out in the operation trying to do a job and signing into a lesson 4 and 5 times to try to get it done. What are they really learning? So what is this company doing? To your point, we have to have some people step in and say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to buy in. We're going to buy into the people who work for us. We're going to buy into a certain vision, a certain product, and they need to paint that picture and get everybody to buy in, and let's move forward. Like you said, we don't have to like it, but make it make sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with anything you said. It's, this is not the same company you and I hired in with years ago. It's a different iteration of American Airlines, different version of this historic airline that was built on the shoulders of some really great men, but more importantly, built on the shoulders of a great workforce. And so there's a part of me that's excited by the notion that we could be part of something that's going to be great in the future. I try to be an optimist. We have the potential for greatness. And it's not about leadership at SV8. It's not about the leadership at headquarters. It's about the workforce. It's about we have an outstanding workforce. We continue to have an outstanding membership. And the sacrifices and the hard work that our guys do are really what is at the foundation of what can be greatness. We just need that vision. We'll tote the water. We'll make it work. We've proven it time and time and time again. But again, the company lacks vision. And until then, I don't know where we go.
To your point, our guys just want to do a job.
Yep.
They want to do it. They want to do it right, efficiently, safely.
Yes.
We just had our membership, our Wednesday meetings yesterday, and we're going to have more meetings today. They all come and say, hey, we need this, or can you guys help us with this? And, we want to get these airplanes in and out, but we need A, B, C, or D.
Right.
But I want to give you a perfect example of our guys and the testament to the job that they want to do. Let's back up several years ago. We were in contract negotiations. Was it 5 or 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
We were negotiating the agreement we're currently under. And like yourself, I listened to the earnings calls and watched the state of the airline. And at the time, we had been regularly attending, if you remember, the state of the airline. And afterwards, to his credit, Robert was the president. Robert Ison was the president of American. And he came over to talk to us. Much respect for him doing that, right?
Mm.
So we had a conversation, and he kept talking about the employees, and what the employees this, and they need this, or they want this, or they need to do this, and he had a lot of opinions. And I said, you don't know the employees. You don't know the members that I represent. We need to get this contract done. This is dragging on and dragging on. So I asked him to come out and meet with me, and we'd walk the ramp. My vision was that he would go out and he would walk the ramp, and everybody would tell him how understaffed we were, how the operation wasn't being ran poorly and things like that. And it was my intent to try to get, to move negotiations further so we could get, to a contract. But what actually happened was, as we walked around, everybody said, hey, if we just had more pins for these airplanes, for the tow bars, or, we need more tow bars, or we need this, or we need this. And all they could talk about was how to make it run better. That's all they want to do. Our guys just want to go out and do a job and be successful. That's all they're asking for.
Yeah.
And that's all we're asking for. Take care of the people who run this airline, and let us take care of the passengers, and let's go be great. We have all the tools. We just need a plan and a vision.
Yeah. We have all the tools operationally.
Yes. Operationally.
Yeah.
And when I said we, I'm talking about us. We did get on a tangent.
Yeah. I get on my soapbox.
But, that's okay. The one thing I will say about it, and, I've spent a lot of time with you, and I pay attention, and you're passionate. And that's what we need. That passion, we can't lose that. You haven't. I haven't lost it.
Right.
And again, at the end of the day, you and our fleet service, we just want to do a job.
That's it. Absolutely.
That's all we want to do. So before we wrap up, we've talked about quite a bit and probably went a little overboard on, in the most recent conversation, but at the end of the day, it's the most important one that we could have. Anything else you want to talk about before we go?
Well, we always do a little bit of housekeeping at the end.
Right.
So the most important part of the housekeeping is that we want to remain safe. It's a difficult job. It's a hard job, and it's a dangerous job. So we want all of our members, regardless of whatever capacity you're in, whatever area, duty assignment, whatever, safety is paramount. I always say you want to go home in the same physical condition in which you came to work. So be very cognizant, be very mindful of your surroundings, and be safe. Then that's your personal safety. Then look out for your brother, look out for your sister.
Right.
Make sure that they remain safe at work. The winter is coming. Fall and winter is upon us. The weather's changing. So, take care of your bodies, take care of yourself. Be sure to dress properly. It sounds simple, but this is when people start catching colds. So you want to, take care of yourself so that your health will be fine. We're getting ready to enter into our busy season with Thanksgiving and Christmas right around the corner. So, want to be cognizant of that. Regardless of where you work, we're getting, more passengers. We're getting over the after the summer, there's a little bit of a lull in travel, and we'll start seeing an uptick as we get closer to Thanksgiving. But, again, just be mindful of those things. And lastly, as from a local perspective, our next membership meeting is actually they're going to be on the 19th and 20th of November.
Right.
We move them up a week because of the next month, Thanksgiving is the last week. So we look forward to seeing our members there. And if you can't make it to a membership meeting, we look forward to seeing you here on the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate the conversation. If I may, I do have one last appeal. American is growing, specifically here at DFW. I know that they're, changing some stuff in the system, but there's a lot of new hires are going to be coming in to DFW.
Mm-hmm.
They're adding a terminal and gates in two of the existing terminals. So my appeal is to the ones that are already on property. Let's really try to take care of the people coming in, show them how to do the job correctly. It's okay to be critical. I mean, just like the old heads, some of the new guys, there's some great ones and then there's some not so great. But again, we want to kind of take care of our own. So don't be dismissive and trying to help them. We need to help them. We don't need to coddle them. We don't, that's not what it's all about. But kind of real quick, make a point on that, because I know you have a very strong opinion on the new employees coming in, and we want them to be successful.
Right.
But go ahead.
So it's twofold, really. We stand on the shoulders of the people that brought us in and taught us the way, and so we have an obligation to them to take people under our wing and mentor them and show them the right way to do it, the safest way to do it, the most effective, efficient way to do it. The flip side to that is our new hires and our new people need to be responsive and need to be less sensitive to the criticism. And it's not really criticism; it's to help you.
Right.
When you're new on a job or you're new in a new environment, you have to be open to hearing what people are saying to you. And so what we're finding is our senior people are hesitant to offer help because some of the newer people are hesitant to receive it.
Good
and
point.
So we just want to make sure that that the relationship is a symbiotic relationship, and that you get the old head giving you the assistance, and be receptive enough to say, okay, let me listen to what this old woman has to say, and put it into effect. So that would help us all.
Yeah, and we're a huge part of that. We we have representatives for a reason.
Right.
So if anything is not going right, we need to know about it.
Absolutely.
So we can step in.
Mm-hmm.
We want everybody to be successful.
Yeah.
We want this airline to thrive. We want it to be the biggest and the best, in the world. And I'm ready to go to work. Hopefully we get some help.
We get some visionary components at the head, then we'll be successful.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great podcast. Appreciate you joining.
Absolutely.
We'll turn the camera off now, and we'll probably sit here for a couple more minutes and kind of debrief, and then get to a membership meeting.
Sounds good, my brother.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining. Sorry we went a little long. Hopefully you enjoy the podcast. We're always open to feedback, criticism, but the main thing is we want everybody to have a great day, and we appreciate you watching.